Hey there, it's Heather with Salty Vibes. I'm a little late this week for my podcast. Had my mom in town. She had some doctor stuff going on, trying to see if she was going to have surgery for her health stuff that happened after we came home from our Vegas trip in May. We talked a little bit about that, I think, last month. Um, and now I'm finally sitting down and having some time to do my podcast. I try to get them up Mondays, but of course, the last few weeks, I kind of feel like I have not been as consistent as I should be. Um, I want to try to batch these, but then I'll get a bunch batched and then I get behind again. Life gets in the way. And yeah, so today I just kind of was going to talk about body keeps the score. And I think I brought that up before about the book Body Keeps the Score. It's by Bessel Kolk, I think is how you say the name. It's Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. And if anybody's ever looked at, the trauma grief stuff by like Dr. Gabor Mate, and again, I don't even know if I'm saying that name right, but I was introduced to his Wisdom of Trauma documentary by my therapist when I was going through therapy during my divorce, or in the separation time period. And she had recommended that, and also, had me watch this video, pretty much like how our body can heal itself, and also, um, this book was talked about as well. The Body Keeps the Score. And I was in a few life after saving divorce group and a bunch of other trauma things. But this book is really good. You can get it on Amazon. They have it on Audible. I think it's anywhere online, and also maybe at some bookstores. But it's a book about trauma and how it reshapes your brain and your body. It can lead to anxiety, depression, physical ailments, and not everybody understands it. Um, but there are more studies are happening as they study the brain. I don't know if you've ever checked out Dr. Almond, but we had our son, my oldest, go there and get his brain scanned and done, and he helps lots of celebrities and stuff. But he has a lot of good information on the brain scans that they do. And um, when my oldest, he told his story on here a few months ago, but when he was in the hospital, they talked about CPTSD and things that had happened to him. And um, he recently is doing a little time in Kona, Hawaii, for quite a few months, thinking about possibly living there. And his body's kind of been going through some like sickness and health stuff. And I was like, I think you're finally just relaxed and you're out of your toxic environment. And Dr. Henry Cloud talks about this, like, you can't heal where you were broken. And my therapist and my counselor, my trauma grief coach would say the same thing, and when I would go, even still, when I go back to Alaska, I feel this like intense, like stress and anxiety in me. And I'm like, why do I feel this way? And, I had a lot of sadness that happened there. And me leaving was one of the best things that I ever did. Even though sometimes, I still struggle with some of that stuff. I mean, it's June 10th was 4 years from my divorce, fourth year anniversary. And then it's been almost, I think, 6 years, almost 6 years since the separation and everything happened. But when I was married, I would break out in these like rashes, especially towards the end when, I knew things weren't where they should be and they weren't getting better. Um, we were doing really good with our business and we were running two businesses and all this stuff, but we were stressed to the max. And we had this job out of state in Hawaii, and I would just like be fine when I'd be by myself. And then as soon as I'd like go fly and meet my ex-husband, I would break out in a rash all over. It's really weird. And I'd get like really puffy and inflamed. And it really happened a lot towards the end of our marriage. Um, And so then when I learned about this body keeps score, I was like, oh, no wonder. Like when I was going through my divorce, I was really swollen and I was like losing weight, but I looked really puffy. And I was like, whoa, I look back at pictures and I just think, ew, like I, I didn't realize how puffy I was. I've been doing a lot of research and studying online lately about inflammation release and some of the natural meditation, healing, somatic stuff. I've been looking at somatic healing for the last couple of years, which has really helped me a lot with releasing stress from my body. Um, and I was doing really good for a while, and then I bought a house and I remodeled it, and I think it kind of like stressed me out a lot more than I realized because I started to feel like the swelling in my body, like the puffiness. Um, Things weren't fitting as well this last winter than they were before. And I was like, oh, I've definitely been, but it was like I didn't put on weight, but I just was like swollen. It was really weird. So I knew I went back to the body keeps the score. So now I've been definitely looking more into that. So if you struggle with any of that type of stuff or you've been through trauma, I know not everybody understands it or like, oh, everybody's talking about trauma nowadays. And I think it's good because we are talking about it more, especially, with suicide rates being high and, men struggling with it. And I have a son who struggled with that. I'm definitely more open minded and um, empathetic towards it. And I do believe in it. I used not, but I do now. And I know when I was going through my divorce, my, ex-husband would kind of make fun of me and I'm not in charge of your triggers and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, well, actually you are a big part of it. But I can't play the victim and play that my whole entire life. So now I look forward and, forgive from past things, but also working on healing my body. And I'm doing things to release inflammation. And it's a daily thing, especially if you've been holding in a lot of years of stress and anxiety and trauma. A lot of people have had things that they don't want to talk about. And that's where getting into an awesome support group, a trauma grief coaching group, or even a life coach. Things that I work with, people that I work with. I love just sitting there and talking and listening, and no judgment ever, because I've been through stuff, and sometimes it's hard to talk about it, or you think like, oh, I don't want to keep talking about this over and over again. Um, and then sometimes also it's like a protection thing, like not that I don't want to talk bad about my ex-husband, but I also want to be able to tell my story of things that I went through, because there are reasons why he is the way that he is, and we went through what we went through, and there's reasons, my kids have been through things, and we're all in so much of a better spot. But when you do get out of a toxic environment and you realize, like my oldest moving away from where he grew up, um, his body's just been feeling sick, and it's releasing, and all of a sudden he's starting to realize, like, my body's finally able to heal. I don't feel this huge weight on my shoulders anymore. And um, the sad thing is we think we should be healed really quickly. Like there's sometimes where I'm like, man, why is it taking me so long to get to where I am today? But we're all on different timelines. Some of us can heal really quickly, and some of us, takes a lot longer. And it's about giving ourselves grace, um, loving ourselves in the process, taking it slower and day by day. Sometimes when we have been through that stuff, we can only do one thing a day. And I'm getting a little more different in how I view my days and how I want my days to be. And then, I'm an introvert, extrovert type of a person. I love people. I work in people business. I love talking to my friends and helping them when they're going through their stuff. I love being a good listener. But there's days where I just need to shut down and not talk to anybody for at least 24 to 48 hours to kind of recharge my battery. And it's not anything against anybody, but I just get tired and I carry a lot of the emotions of the ones that I love. And I try to stay calm and caring and in that. Sometimes maybe I carry it a little bit too much. And so I have realized in the years of doing somatic therapy, and uh, life coaching and trauma grief coaching, processing through things a lot quicker, recognizing things in my body, things, learning to say yes to things that I love, and that it's okay to say no and to not people please all the time. And sometimes we're going to hurt someone's feelings, and you just have to, like, I can't control what somebody else feels, or I can be empathetic and loving towards that, but I can also be more so to myself. So if you haven't checked out this book, I really think it's awesome. It's really helped me a lot. Also, check out, there's so many amazing things on, YouTube and Instagram for this type of stuff. More and more people are learning about it. They're getting into it, looking at healing your body through inflammation, healing, doing fascia release, uh, slow movement exercises instead of pushing our bodies so hard to where, everything aches and hurts. And when we've been through trauma and we carry a lot of that in our body, sometimes we can't do heavy, intense workouts anymore. We have to learn to, like, slow it down, and somatic therapy and healing is really amazing for that. So this book is called The Body Keeps a Score: Brain, Mind, and Body and the Healing of Trauma by Bessel Kolk, MD. So look it up online. Um, Definitely read it, listen to the Audible. I think it's something to really think about, and you'll start to notice, even if you're in the new dating world, like I am in my midlife world of, people that you're with. I was kind of seeing this guy for a while that I knew from childhood, and he started to kind of give me the same feelings, and I didn't realize it until later that I was getting when I was married. When I'd go see him, all of a sudden I'd have a rash, or um, I'd feel like this, like, stress in my body, or when I'd leave him, I'd start to kind of feel like panicky. And he was doing all the right things, like calling me all the time, and we would make plans to go see each other, but there was still something in my body that didn't feel right. And now when I look back, I'm like, okay, when I'm with someone and I feel safe with them, because then I was kind of seeing this other guy, and I felt completely 100% safe with him. I felt comfortable. I felt myself. I didn't feel like I had to be weird and showy. And my ex-husband used to always say he didn't like my silly, goofy side. He thought it was weird and wanted me to hide it. So a lot of times I would, like, hide who I was to make him happy. And you lose your light when you do that. You lose who you are. And so you're kind of suppressing who God made you to be, who God created you to be. And um, this comes out in sicknesses and, gaining weight, or, swelling in your body of, like, lots of inflammation, headaches, migraines, rashes, gut issues, autoimmune diseases. I have Hashimoto's. That's autoimmune disease. So it's learning to listen to your body, learning to recognize, like, this person might not be healthy for me to be around them all the time. And it's hard to do, especially if they've been a friend for a really long time, if you've known them for a long time. And I think you can still keep, people in your lives that you want to, because I don't totally agree with cutting people off, but also you can lessen your time, you can put boundaries up to protect yourself, and just learn, okay, I'm not feeling right now. I need to take a step back and still love the person in that moment, but hey, I need to take care of myself. So that's just a little bit of this week thoughts, thinking about, some of the stuff I've gone through, and that it was real. I like to try to downplay it sometimes, or I don't really want to talk about it anymore. But it is important because I am really working on growing my life coaching page, and I've kind of have a couple ideas of what I'm trying to do. And it gets hard because I'm also running my real estate business as well, and trying to build that and grow that. And I overwhelm myself a little bit because I got these two things that I'm trying to do, and one that I absolutely love, but it's like, where do you put your time at? And so it's learning that in this process of still healing, because I think we're always going to be healing for the rest of our life. We're always going to be. I think the goal is to try to be better, but also to more live in the moment, find the beauty, see the things, and love yourself more, and realize you can't fix people. You can only fix yourself. So I want to thank you this week for listening to me. Um, I'm going to hopefully try to get a couple recorded so that I can be more consistent and not fall behind on my podcast. Have created a Substack. I'm working on getting some posts put up in there for blogging where I'm going to try to share more of this type of stuff, and I like to share more books and things that have helped me throughout my journey the last few years on my podcast. And I have these uploaded onto my YouTube as well. So slowly but surely, it's not perfect, but again, I just want to thank all my few little listeners out there for being there, a part of my growth on Salty Vibes. Have a great week and make sure to love yourself.